procession makes its way into the Great Hall. The Honorable Amy Lynn Blake, Chief Justice of the Massachusetts Appeals Court. The Honorable Dana M. Gershengorn, Chief Justice of the Massachusetts Juvenile Court. The Honorable Carrie A. Ahern, First Justice of the Essex Juvenile Court. Attorney Dembitzer Esquire, Chief of the Appeals Unit for the Committee of Public Counsel Service. Attorney Catherine Naples Mitchell, Esquire, Criminal Justice Policy Program, Harvard Kennedy School. Her Excellency, the Governor, Maura Healey, Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. The Honorable Kim Driscoll, Lieutenant Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. The Honorable Gloria Y. Tan. And the Honorable Chauncey B. Wood.
Good afternoon. Please be seated, everyone. Welcome. What a great day this is. Today we are here to celebrate the appointments of Justices Gloria Tan and Chauncey Wood to the Appeals Court. Now I will say this is a bit of a first for the Appeals Court. It's a double ceremony. Some would say they're the Wonder Twins. Others like me who are a big shopper think this is BOGO, buy one, get one. But honestly, they started together, they were sworn in within an hour of each other, so it's truly befitting that today we celebrate both Justice Wood and Justice Tan. My name is Amy Blake. I am the Chief Justice of the Appeals Court, and I will be today's host. I want to take a moment to recognize some folks who have joined us today, including the Justices of the Supreme Judicial Court, members of the Federal Judiciary, members both past and present of the Appeals Court, both justices and staff, trial court chief justices, associate justices. I'm told that perhaps Mayor Michelle Wu is here, District Attorney Marion Ryan, Commissioner of Probation Pamerson Eiffel, Jury Commissioner Pam Wood, members of the Judicial Nominating Commission, Bar Association leadership, Governor's Chief of Staff, and Governor's legal team. I'm sure I've left somebody out. For that, I apologize. Of course, you're all here today because of your friendship and family of both Justice Wood and Justice Tan. I would be remiss, however, if I didn't recognize some special guests. I'm told most of the juvenile court is here. Now, I'm just asking for a friend, but is 27 years too old to file for a child in need of protection from my own? Too old? Okay. And I'm also told that we have quite the representation of the criminal defense bar here. But a special welcome to Justice Tan and Justice Wood's families. I know their spouses, their daughters, their parents all join us here in the front row, so welcome and thank you. Our first speaker today is someone Justice Tan knows quite well. She is the Chief Justice of the Juvenile Court, Justice Dana Gershengorn.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, honored colleagues. It is both an honor and a privilege to stand before you today to celebrate a remarkable milestone in the career of one of our most respected members of the judiciary, Judge Gloria Tan. After almost 11 years of dedicated service to the juvenile court as an associate justice, today we're here to congratulate Judge Tan on her appointment to the Massachusetts Court of Appeals. This achievement reflects not only the many years of dedicated service and expertise Judge Tan has brought to the bench, but also affirms her continued commitment to the pursuit of justice at a higher level. Judge Tan's journey from the juvenile court to the appellate court is one of both service and distinction. For the past 11 years, Judge Tan has exemplified what it means to be a judge of integrity, compassion, and profound understanding of the law. As a sitting juvenile court judge, I often faced complex legal issues that I wanted to discuss with my colleagues. In those times, I knew in my heart that if I wanted to come out this way, I might call this judge. If I wanted to come out that way, I might call that judge. But if I wanted to come out the legally honest way, which I always did, I'd call Judge Tan. Judge Tan's dedication to the rule of law, to following the law where it leads and not the other way around, made her the standard that the rest of us could only strive to meet. One of the many things that I will miss are my early morning commuting calls with Judge Tan to discuss a particularly difficult or emotional case. And I know her new colleagues will soon learn, if they haven't already, that joining her on her fast-paced lunchtime walks are a great way to hash out a particularly thorny issue. As a juvenile court judge, Judge Tan dealt with some of the most vulnerable members of our society, the young, the disadvantaged, and the marginalized. Her decisions in these cases, while always guided by the law, were never just about the law. They were about hope, they were about redemption, and they were about the chance for people to reclaim their future. Judge Tan recognized that every decision she made had the potential to change a life, sometimes even save a life. And with each case, she approached her work with the empathy and the wisdom that only comes from a true understanding of the human experience. She saw the potential for growth and change even in the most challenging situations, and her rulings reflected her belief in second chances. It's no surprise that Judge Tan's appointment to the appeals court comes after years of hard work, dedication, and respect earned not only from her colleagues, but from the communities that she served. As chief of the juvenile court, I had the responsibility to replace Judge Tan as First Justice of Middlesex County, a position that Judge Tan held for 5 years. During that process, I spoke confidentially with numerous staff and attorneys from both sides of the V about what I should be looking for in a first justice. Without exception, I was told I should be looking for Judge Tan. There was not one person that I spoke to who had a complaint, or frankly, even something I could characterize as constructive criticism about Judge Tan's service in Middlesex County. Those who have appeared before Judge Tan, whether as legal counsel, defendant, or victim, have always known that they would receive a fair hearing, a reasoned decision, and a judge who took the time to truly understand the nuance of every case before her. I can share one example that I think highlights that fact. In the juvenile court, we're often called upon to sit in cases of harassment orders. And sometimes those orders are the result of a relationship between two adolescents that for some reason has ended badly. Not that long ago, Judge Tan had such a case, and in that case, the parties introduced literally thousands of texts, not hundreds, thousands of texts between the two adolescents. Judge Tan read every one of those texts. Not a sampling, not the Cliff Notes version, every single text message. At the time, she said to me, "That's my job. They deserve a judge that's going to do her job and review the evidence." And I can tell you that Judge Tan handled that difficult case with the utmost sensitivity, compassion, and legal grace. In her new role on the appellate court, Judge Tan will be called to a different level of responsibility, and I have no doubt she will meet this challenge with the same excellence that has defined her career thus far. The appellate court requires judges to consider complex legal issues, interpret the law, and shape the future of legal precedent in ways that impact our entire justice system. Judge Tan will now have the opportunity to guide and shape that process, ensuring that the principles of fairness and justice that have defined her work continue to thrive in every corner of the Commonwealth. To the justices of the appeals court, I hope you know that our loss is your gain. You are gaining an addition to your court who will not only prove to be a valuable and respected colleague, but who I know will come to be a true friend, and if you can keep up, a reliable walking partner at lunch. Judge Tan, as you embark on this next chapter of your distinguished career, know that you carry with you the admiration and respect of the legal community, the many individuals whose lives you touched on the juvenile court, and although bittersweet, your colleagues. I'm confident you will continue to inspire, to lead, and to make a lasting impression on the legal system in the years to come. We in the juvenile court are so very proud of you, and we look forward to the good work you will continue to do as a member of the appeals court. May your tenure there be marked by sound judgment, thoughtful analysis, deference to the trial judge, and as always, a commitment to justice. Congratulations.
Well, now I expect you to read my text messages. Before I introduce our next speaker, I wanted to recognize a couple of other folks that have joined us today. We are very fortunate to have 3 clerks of court. We have Clerk Cartwright, who has joined us, Clerk Looney, and Clerk Tuttle. Welcome. Next is Judge Kerry Ahern, who is the first Justice of Essex County Juvenile Court. Judge Ahern?
Good afternoon, Governor Healey, Lieutenant Governor Driscoll, Chief Justice Budd, and the SJC justices, Chief Justice Blake and the appeals justices, my fellow trial court justices, elected and appointed officials, Justice Wood and members of his family, congratulations to you, and members of Justice Tan's family. As Chief Justice Blake said, my name is Kerry Ahern. I'm the first justice in the Essex County Juvenile Court, and it is my great pleasure to be with you here to celebrate my friend and colleague, Gloria Tan. Gloria may not remember this, but I first met her when I appeared in front of her as an attorney. It was shortly after she took the bench in 2013, and she had just gotten the judicial spot I had applied for. Gloria got the spot, and I was put on the infamous slate. Despite the fact that she stole my spot, I instantly liked her and knew she was going to be an outstanding judge. Fortunately for me, the stars aligned, and I soon joined her on the juvenile court bench. We became fast friends. Gloria is one of those people that you meet and immediately become fond of. She is incredibly smart, very witty, and impossibly kind. As a result, she is extremely well-liked and respected by her colleagues on the juvenile court. Truth be told, this is somewhat of a bittersweet day for our juvenile court family, because although we are bursting with pride over her appointment and thrilled that we now have an appellate judge that is intimately familiar with the nuances of the juvenile law, we are really sad to lose her. And when I say we, I am not just referencing my judicial colleagues. Gloria's commitment to treating all with dignity and respect, and the compassion and empathy she has for the families and children that appear in front of her, has engendered admiration and respect from court staff, members of the bar, and the larger community. She has earned the reputation of being a problem solver and a collaborator, always willing to listen to others and find equal ground. She is also selfless in giving of her time off of the bench. She is on several boards and committees, including the Flash New Judicial Institute, the SJC Evidence Guide Committee, the SJC Jury Management Committee, and the J2J Mentoring Program. I could go on and on about Judge Tan's keen intellect, her excellent writing skills, and all of the other attributes that make her eminently qualified to be a stellar appellate court judge. But instead, I want to take a few minutes to talk about Gloria Tan, the person. Gloria is truly one of the best people I know. About a year and a half ago, Gloria and her family were on a vacation in Maui when a series of wildfires broke out, causing catastrophic damage, with many losing their life. She and Greg and their daughters were stranded, unable to get to their hotel, and forced to sleep in their rental car. It was a scary situation as the fires continued to rage. They had little food and only the clothing on their back. Unlike some who would complain about the circumstances and a ruined vacation, Gloria's thoughts were immediately focused on how to help the locals who had lost so much. Before she was even able to return to the mainland, she was researching how to donate to and support the victims. Just an example of the type of person she is and the role model she provides for both Sarah and Emily. Gloria is that colleague and friend who is always supportive and encouraging. She is the first one to reach out to support a fellow judge who has had a challenging case and is being vilified by the press. She is the friend that calls to check in when your elderly parent is having health challenges. And she is that colleague who takes this time to send you a congratulatory email when you are upheld by an appellate court. Or maybe console you when you're reversed and they use some harsh language in their decision. Gloria, you promised all you're going to remember the trial court judges in your new role, right? You're not going to do that. Another fun fact about Gloria, she is a total foodie. She ascribes to that old adage, life is too short to eat bad food. If you go to a conference with her, she will have researched the restaurants in the area, have analyzed the reviews, and have made reservations for your group. Virginia Woolf once said, one cannot think well, love well, sleep well, if one has not dined well. If that is true, Gloria's love of food might end up being one of her greatest contributions to the appeals court. In closing, I want to share with the appeals court justices that not only have you gained a smart, hardworking, thoughtful judge, you have been blessed with a truly outstanding person, who I am sure you will all come to adore as much as their juvenile court colleagues do. Gloria, I wish you all the best in this new phase of your judicial career, and please know you will always be part of our juvenile court family. We love you.
I know we have to wait a year, but let's put her down for the social committee for ordering the food. That'd be great. That would be great. So we're going to switch gears a little bit now and turn to the other side of the room. Our next speaker is Liz Dembitzer, who is the Director of the Private Counsel Division of Criminal Appeals for the Committee for Public Counsel Services. Liz?
Thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of Chauncey Wood. I'm honored to be here. Chauncey has been a member of the CPCS post-conviction panel since 1998 and has been taking murder cases on the panel since 2002. He has litigated more than 100 serious criminal post-conviction cases. For the more than 15 years that I have known him, he has been a generous and trusted colleague, a mentor to many other attorneys, and a powerful advocate for his clients. His own work serves as a model for zealous advocacy. His contributions to Massachusetts law include the admissibility of evidence of an alleged victim's prior acts of violence in the context of a self-defense claim, and the right to effective assistance of counsel at pre-arraignment custodial interrogation. He has secured reversals in several of his clients' murder convictions by bringing newly discovered evidence, challenging shoddy forensics, and bringing to light the problems of false confessions and Brady violations. And in many of these cases, even after the appeal had concluded, he went on to serve as co-counsel in the retrial proceedings, illustrating not only his unique mastery of both trial and appellate level skills, but also his dedication to his clients. And so it's entirely appropriate that he be given the honor of being the first attorney, I believe, who spent an entire career defending indigent criminal defendants nominated directly to the appeals court. Chauncey's unique abilities warrant his unique honor. But I'd also like to point out that contributing to Chauncey's success as a judge will be his experience specifically as a criminal defense attorney. Criminal defense work is excellent preparation for this role, and this is because of what criminal defense attorneys do. They demand fair adherence to and application of the rule of law, and they do this at a critical time, at a time when people may find it difficult to adhere to this principle. Here is what Chauncey did for his entire career. He went before judge after judge, representing clients who had been convicted of crimes. Often, they had been convicted of serious and upsetting crimes. And he said to each judge, when there's no longer a presumption of innocence, You may not like my client. You may be disturbed by the allegations in this case. But my client is entitled to the protection of our Constitution, our Declaration of Rights, our laws and procedures. Defense attorneys are well aware that this is both difficult and necessary, but this is the rule of law, and it works only if we believe it applies fairly to everyone, and criminal defense attorneys try to make sure that it does. Chauncey's approach to his clients and to case investigations and litigations has exemplified this ethic, but it has also illustrated on a more personal level an extraordinary commitment to his clients. And to those that know him, it won't be surprising that he has pushed us, all of us, to improve the defense bar's quality of representation and client-centered advocacy. He has pushed us to listen to our clients, because at the end of the day, each case is, in fact, the client's case. Our clients have lived the case and will live the consequences of the outcome, and our clients' insights and experiences are valuable and should not be discounted. He has pushed us to take a wide view of our cases. He has rarely been content to work from the appellate record alone. Criminal cases do not happen in a vacuum. Crimes and police investigations happen in homes and communities and are impacted by emotions, assumptions, relationships, and mistakes. Criminal defense appellate attorneys have the opportunity and the obligation to question what may look like a simple and straightforward story told by the trial. To do our jobs, appellate attorneys must look at and question the factual record, the law, and our biases. And finally, of course, Chauncey has pushed us to know the law well and the case records very well. In fact, if I can give one piece of advice for those arguing before Justice Wood, he will not be happy if he knows the case record better than you do. Be prepared. Be very well prepared. So it's a bittersweet moment for the defense bar. We're losing a cherished colleague. But of course, we're delighted for Chauncey, his family, and all of the litigants before the appeals court, because we know Chauncey will be a wonderful judge, and that the values he lived and worked by as a criminal defense practitioner will be well utilized on the appeals court. I imagine that being a judge may not be easy. Sometimes it's not clear what the right answer is. But Chauncey will bring to the task an understanding of the inherent humanity on all sides, the importance and real-life consequences of the work, diligent study of the law, and meticulous preparation. So if anyone can find the right way, he can.
Liz, I've experienced that preparation. Chauncey does not come to a meeting in my office without pad and paper. When I tell him, I just need you for 2 seconds. 2 seconds is 2 pads, I think. I'm pleased to bring up our next speaker, Katie Naples Mitchell, who's the director of the Criminal Justice Policy Program at the Harvard Kennedy School.
Thank you, and good afternoon, honored guests. It is my pleasure to join you today to speak about a dear colleague, friend, and mentor, Chauncey Wood. As you've already heard, as a criminal defense attorney focused on indigent defense, Chauncey has dedicated his career to serving people living at the margins. Chauncey spent nearly 3 decades providing high-quality representation to people in the aftermath of their worst, most difficult moments. And in doing so, he has worked to build meaningful relationships that enabled them to feel that their voices and perspectives mattered in the process. Our criminal law system posits that a defendant is opposed and alone, the Commonwealth versus the individual. But in the work of passionate and compassionate defense, that fiction can melt away. With a skilled defender like Chauncey, it is possible to share much more complicated realities of people's lives and communities, and to humanize clients before our courts. I'd like to spend just a moment on Chauncey's appellate and post-conviction work on behalf of clients convicted of first-degree murder. Chauncey's vital work on some of the thorniest cases a criminal defense attorney can take on ensured that no stone went unturned, and that the government was held to its proper hefty burden before a person could be deprived of their liberty and subjected to confinement in a prison cell the size of a parking space for the rest of their natural life. Of course, through that work, Chauncey also represented clients who maintained their innocence. an area of expertise for his phenomenal wife and partner, Lisa, as well, who leads the critical work of the CPCS Innocence Program. And whether filing motions for a new trial or direct appeals, Chauncey's work was a recurrent reminder that our system creates harm when it prioritizes finality over justice. Chauncey's work was also fundamentally about ensuring that the aspirational principles of our founding documents are not mere abstractions. The work of indigent defense is the work of realizing civil and constitutional rights, of checking the power of the police to search a private home or seize a teenager on the street, of assessing the reliability of expert opinions or new technology admitted in court, of ensuring that the law is enforced without selectively targeting people because of their identities or their circumstances, who they are, the color of their skin, what neighborhood they live in. In that spirit, I'm here today to celebrate and champion the work Chauncey led as co-chair of the amicus committee of the Massachusetts Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers, or MACDL, to advance justice reform and the administration of criminal law in the Commonwealth through our appellate courts. Through this work, Chauncey scaffolded the stories of individual clients to construct new architecture in the law, moving the justices of our appellate courts with well-reasoned and deeply researched arguments, pulling from constitutional interpretation in sister states, social science research, legislative history, the historical record of our common law tradition, and moral imperative to bend the arc of our little universe here toward justice. Those of you who know him personally know that Chauncey has a fierce sense of righteousness. When he beams with pride about the strong and confident young women his daughters Carter and Izzy have grown into, he also emphasizes that they are each also committed to making the world a better place. But Chauncey also has an insatiable curiosity, a steadfast commitment to research and rigor, a cerebral style, and a crisp intellect. For those of you who have seen Chauncey's assertive appellate argument style, you might not expect him to also be a generous collaborator, an open-minded thought partner, if your argument is well supported, and a humble mentor. But his work leading MACDL's amicus practice is a testament to the way he embodied those attributes. In that work, to advance justice in our courts, he also knitted together a community of lawyers in public and private practice among large firms and solo practitioners at CPCS and in law school clinics, nonprofits, and civil rights organizations to build an infrastructure to advance the rights of some of the Commonwealth's most disempowered people. I first met Chauncey 6 years ago. I was 2 years out of law school and a fellow at the Charles Hamilton Houston Institute for Race and Justice at Harvard Law School. I was introduced to this rich community of lawyers, many who volunteered their time pro bono, working on amicus briefs for MACDL, CPCS, the ACLU of Massachusetts, the New England Innocence Project, Lawyers for Civil Rights, the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, and the list goes on. In the years since, Chauncey has helped to build and steward a strategic coalition for amicus practice at the SJC. We've worked on a range of topics across criminal law, best summarized by 3 watchwords: reliability, fairness, and equity. And to that end, I'd like to give you a behind-the-scenes look at one seminal case to conclude, which also happened to be our first collaboration, Commonwealth versus Long. Commonwealth versus Long was a groundbreaking equal protection case in which the Supreme Judicial Court took steps to ensure that people targeted for police investigations, and in particular for traffic stops, because of their race or other protected class, would have an achievable remedy that, in the words of the late Chief Justice Gants, was given teeth. I met Chauncey for the first time in a conference room at CPCS. The SJC had issued an amicus announcement, and John Warren, who litigated the case, had reached out to various parties about getting involved. Just a year earlier, in Commonwealth versus Buckley, the SJC had rejected a wholesale challenge to the practice of pretextual stops. Our community of advocates, though, knew the research and the lived experience of our clients and loved ones. The practice of pretextual stops enabled racial profiling. And while an individual equal protection suppression remedy could, in time, chip away at the problem of racially motivated policing, it seemed the best way to confront and curtail the practice at a systemic level might be changing the rules our courts had set on allowable police behavior. We convened and debated. Could we credibly ask the court again to prohibit pretextual stops, given its recent rejection of that argument? While some expressed skepticism, Chauncey left the meeting chewing on the idea. As he unlocked his bike outside, he told me he thought we should push it again because it was the right thing to do. So we reached out to other colleagues to join us, Radha Natarajan of the New England Innocence Project and Oren Nimni, then at Lawyers for Civil Rights. And it was one of many times our coalition would file coordinated complementary briefs, one laying out how the court could improve the law by expanding an existing framework, and another laying out how the court could alter the law to better do justice. The ultimate outcome of the case reflected the benefits of that strategy, as it was clear the justices had thoughtfully engaged with all of the arguments presented. Soon after, Chauncey coordinated a symposium through MacDill about the Long decision, training lawyers on using this new precedent to curb racially motivated policing and to preserve their clients' rights. In conclusion, my experience working with Chauncey assures me that he will be an exceptional jurist. Through this vision, leadership, and project management experience, I know he will approach the complex duties of an appellate judge with grace and humility. Already in his career as an advocate, Chauncey helped move the law forward and helped to educate and mentor younger lawyers like me, and I know he will reprise that role with law clerks and interns and the lawyers who appear before him. And what more can you hope for in a judge than a brilliant, deep thinker who holds fast to moral principles, but also has a willingness to change his mind and evolve his thinking? Congratulations, Chauncey, and thank you all.
Something tells me we might see Katie up here in a decade or so taking an oath. I want to just take a minute to give a shout out to Monique Duart, our operations manager, without whom today would not have happened. When they said they wanted to do a double, Monique said, okay, we'll do a double. So thank you, Monique. I also want to take a minute to recognize our Lieutenant Governor. Our Lieutenant Governor is a true partner to our governor in all things, but most especially, selfishly, in selecting the highest caliber of judicial nominees. And although we're so fortunate that she has joined us here today, in the interest of time, she has ceded her time to our other speakers. But that should not prevent us from thanking Lieutenant Governor Healey-Driscoll. Thank you. Our next speaker truly needs no introduction. She is an attorney, a two-term Attorney General, and the 73rd Governor of our great state. She knows the importance of putting the best and brightest on the bench. But we also know Governor Healey is an avid sports fan. Having been a former professional basketball player, I think it's fair to say that the appointments of Justice Tan and Justice Wood were a slam dunk. Please welcome Governor Healey.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you so much, Chief Justice Blake. It's great to be back here. Many of us were here just a few short weeks ago to celebrate the historic swearing in of Chief Justice Amy Blake, the first woman to serve as Chief of the Massachusetts Appeals Court. So it's wonderful to be back this evening for, yes, 2 slam dunk appointments for sure. And I want to thank all who are joining. Thank you for all who offered beautiful remarks, Chief Justice Gershengorn, Justice Ahern, Attorney Dembitzer, and Attorney Naples-Mitchell. Thank you very much for your words about these wonderful, wonderful 2 people who are willing to step forward in these challenging times and assume these awesome positions. To Chief Justice Budd, Justices of the Supreme Judicial Court and of the Appeals Court, members of the state judiciary, members of the legislature and governor's council, district attorneys, clerks, commissioners, governor's office, legal counsel. Thank you very much to Paige Scott Reed and to Dara for all the work that you do day in and day out, especially bringing forth such wonderful candidates for the bench. Members of the Judicial Nominating Commission, thank you to Mark Fleming, one of our leaders of that, and distinguished guests. It's an honor to be here tonight, and I join the Lieutenant Governor, who is a fantastic champion for ensuring that we have the absolute best in fulfilling the tradition of what has been the absolute best in terms of the Massachusetts judiciary in this country. So I want to thank the LG for all of her work. Tonight, we are here to celebrate another first for the court. the confirmation of not just one, but two outstanding new justices, Justice Gloria Tan and Justice Chauncey Wood. I'd also like to recognize some members of the SJC and Appeals Court who are retired, but who are also with us this evening. We are grateful as a Commonwealth to each of you for your service to the state, and we're honored that you could be here tonight to celebrate. I also want to recognize so many members of the Appeals Court family. Monique was rightly recognized a few minutes ago, but we thank you as well to our court officers, clerks, staff attorneys, assistants, administrators, and all the folks who put in the time day in and day out to help the Appeals Court do its outstanding work. I also want to recognize the families of our honorees tonight. Justice Tan's husband, Representative Greg Schwartz, our new colleague, and her daughters, Emily and Sarah, are also here tonight. And it's been fun to sit here and see them look at you with such admiration. I don't know if you get that at home all the time, but that was the vibe tonight. Her sister Christy, brother-in-law Alistair, nieces Sophia and Fiona, and her very proud parents, her mother Sue and her father Ping. And how proud you must be. Congratulations. I'd also like to welcome Justice Wood's family, his wife, Lisa Kavanaugh. Thank you for your work, particularly in the law. We appreciate all that you do. Your daughter, Isabel, is with us tonight. Your father, Charles Wood, stepmother, Marges Bacon, and your in-laws, Joan and John Kavanaugh. I'm thrilled that you can all be here with us to mark this special occasion. One of the greatest responsibilities I have is to nominate people to our courts. And I do my best working with the LG and our fabulous legal team, the JNC, to put forward the very, very best to ensure that our judicial system is here to serve the people of Massachusetts. We have to make sure as well that it genuinely reflects the diversity of our great state. And I'll say that again, diversity is good. Diversity in all forms is good. We've been doing it for a while. Makes for better laws, policies, and most importantly, outcomes for those in our state. It also means that we can continue to build on a Massachusetts that is rooted in the tenets of democracy and justice for all. And I'm always reminded of this being in the John Adams Courthouse, the place of so much that has been important to our state and to our country. The justices we're swearing in tonight are not only brilliant attorneys, but they are also thought leaders in their respected areas, and as you heard, wonderfully decent human beings. Justice Tan graduated magna cum laude and is a member of Phi Beta Kappa from Rice University before going on to earn her Juris Doctor at Yale Law School. She began her legal career at the Committee for Public Counsel Services as an attorney in the Youth Advocacy Division, and she later went on to serve as a clinical instructor and deputy director of the Criminal Justice Institute at Harvard Law School. At Harvard, she served as an instructor and supervisor to law students, training the next generation of attorneys in all aspects of juvenile law. In 2013, then Governor Patrick appointed Justice Tan to the Juvenile Court, and in 2019, appointed her as the first justice of the Middlesex County Juvenile Court. Justice Tan brings not only broad experience and expertise in juvenile law to the appeals court, but she also brings a deep understanding of the unique issues that juveniles and young adults and their families face in our court system. I have no doubt that she will use her voice to thoughtfully and compassionately advocate for juveniles and young adults, all the while delivering justice in each case that comes before her. Justice Wood graduated cum laude from Harvard University and earned his Juris Doctor from Boston University School of Law. At the law school, he was an Edward F. Hennessy Distinguished Scholar. He has spent his career as a criminal defense attorney, representing clients at both the pretrial and trial phases and at appeal, as some of you know. He served on the board of directors and as the amicus committee chair for the Massachusetts Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers for a decade, where he led efforts to confront systemic racism and bias in the criminal justice system and to improve access to justice. Throughout his career, he has worked tirelessly to ensure that even those from the most marginalized communities are treated compassionately and represented zealously in our criminal justice system. Justice Wood is a brilliant legal scholar and a masterful writer. I know that he will work hard every day to rigorously analyze the cases that come before him and to thoughtfully deliver justice in each case. Will you continue to ride your bike?
I will.
You will, okay. They're not holding you to it. It's tough with a robe. The work of an associate justice on this incredibly important appeals court is hard. It's time-consuming, it's multifaceted, it's intellectually challenging, and I am incredibly grateful to both Justice Tan and Justice Wood for being willing to take on this challenge. I know that you will each serve with compassion, with dedication, with humility, and with intellectual rigor and collegiality, with every case ensuring fairness and justice. Congratulations to you both, and it is now my honor to ask you to step forward so that I may ceremonially swear in these two remarkable folks as Associate Justices of the Appeals Court. And I'd like to begin with you, Justice Tan.
I, Gloria Tan,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts
to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts
and will support the Constitution thereof.
and will support the Constitution thereof.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I
I, Gloria Tan,
do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform
discharge and perform
all the duties incumbent on me
all the duties incumbent upon me
as an Associate Justice of the Massachusetts Appeals Court,
as an Associate Justice of the Massachusetts Appeals Court,
according to the best of my abilities and understanding,
according to the best of my abilities and understanding,
agreeably
agreeably
to the rules and regulations of the Constitution
to the rules and regulations of the Constitution
and the laws of this Commonwealth.
and the laws of this Commonwealth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I
I, Gloria Tan,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
Congratulations.
I, Chauncey Wood,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts
to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts
and will support the Constitution thereof.
and will support the Constitution thereof.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I
I, Chauncey Wood,
do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform
discharge and perform
all the duties incumbent on me
all the duties incumbent on me
as an Associate Justice of the Massachusetts Appeals Court,
as an Associate Justice of the Massachusetts Appeals Court,
according to the best of my abilities and understanding,
according to the best of my abilities and understanding,
agreeably
agreeably
to the rules and regulations of the Constitution
to the rules and regulations of the Constitution
and the laws of this Commonwealth.
and the laws of this Commonwealth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I
I, Chauncey Wood,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
Congratulations.
do better than that. Stand up. Congratulations. Justice Tan?
So, thank you all for being here today. Thank you, first, Governor Healey, Lieutenant Governor Driscoll, for entrusting me and for appointing me to the appeals court. It is truly an honor and a privilege. I want to thank Chief Justice Blake for your support and your encouragement in urging me to apply to the appeals court, and your support throughout the process in making the transition to the appeals court so smooth. Thank you. I truly am appreciative. I want to thank my speakers, Chief Gershengorn, Judge Ahern, Dana, Carrie. Thank you very much. It means so much for you to be here today speaking for me. And I will miss, you've made me miss the juvenile court, but not the harassment prevention orders. You all know, don't miss those. But truly appreciate your kind words. I want to thank the Governor's legal office, Paige Scott Reed, Darrell Kesselheim, for your guidance through this process. I want to thank the nominating commission members, the bar committee members, and the governor's counselors. I want to thank the staff, the court staff, and the governor's staff who have made today's event possible. First and foremost, Monique Duarte. You can't get enough shout outs tonight. Truly, thank you for all the work that you've done and your patience and guidance in helping us work out all of the logistics. I want to thank Justice Wood and congratulate him, as well as his family. Thank you for sharing today with me and with my family. I didn't know Chauncey before we were nominated, but I feel like I've known him for a long time, not in a bad way. But it's it's nice, Governor, to appoint two people together, and it's been nice going through this journey with you. I want to also thank my colleagues on the appeals court. Still sounds a little funny for me to say that. It's been a couple of months now, and I will confess that when I was first nominated, in addition to being happy and excited, I will confess to feeling a little bit nervous because, as you heard, I had a lot of friends on the juvenile court. I was comfortable. I knew where the courtrooms were. I knew people's names. And so I wasn't quite sure what to expect. But any fears I had were allayed right away because as soon as the announcement went out, my email box was full of emails from people congratulating me and welcoming me, some people I knew and some people I didn't. And it's only been a really amazing transition. Thanks to all of you. Thank you for being so generous with your time, with your advice, telling me how to get to the courtrooms. And I want to especially thank Rachel Hirschfang, my mentor. And really, your support has been just invaluable. Spending time, giving me feedback, answering my questions at all hours of the day and night. And I appreciate that you're a fellow foodie as well, so that's helpful too. I want to thank my law clerk, Jacob Besner. You've been indispensable. And I want to thank my secretary, Jeannie O'Connor, and really the entire appeals court staff, the staff attorneys, the clerks, people, security. I promise I'll learn your name, hopefully everyone's name at some point. Just be a little bit patient with me. So growing up in Texas, in a small town, population 3,000 people, 3 stoplights, there are more cows than people, I never would have imagined in my wildest dreams that I would be nominated to the appeals court. And I'd be standing here today in the historic, beautiful John Adams Courthouse, being sworn in by the governor. I wouldn't be here today without my family, my parents, who we've had them fly up from Texas a few times now, and they immigrated to the United States, settled in this rural Texas town where they didn't know anyone, English wasn't their first language, and they worked hard to support my sister and me, to provide for us, and I absolutely wouldn't be here today without their support. I want to thank my husband, Greg, who is one of the best people I know. Those of you who know him know that to be true, and he makes everybody around him better. Couldn't ask for a better partner, life partner. And my daughters, Emily and Sarah, you really have grown up to be such impressive, kind, compassionate, empathetic, smart, talented young women. It's a true privilege to be your mom. I feel like I really hit the lottery when it comes to my family. And I also feel like I hit the lottery when it comes to my professional career as well. I see so many people here in the audience, people I started out with as a young idealistic attorney at CPCS in 1998. I learned so much from the people there. I learned how to be a voice for the voiceless, how people are more than just their worst moment, and how they are more than just the allegations in the police report. And I was thinking, looking back a little bit on sort of my career as an attorney, and remembering how for a while we were moving offices every 2 weeks in Boston. And at one point I was sharing an office with 2 other attorneys, or 3 of us, and I could literally reach out and touch the other attorneys. And we got to be friends because really we had no choice because we knew everything about each other's lives. And I see many of them here today, and we have become lifelong friends. For that, I'm very grateful. We've attended each other's weddings, bridal showers, baby showers, and other life events. And I really am grateful for everything that you all have taught me as an attorney, and for your friendship. I also was very lucky in working at the Criminal Justice Institute at Harvard Law School. I got to learn from smart, talented attorneys, and also inspired by law students who, with their energy, their enthusiasm, and wanting to, fight the status quo and fight against complacency. And I have friends who I see here today, as well as people who unfortunately could not be here today. And I've had the privilege for the last almost 12 years of serving on the juvenile court as a judge. And you've heard from some of my speakers how difficult the job can be. And really, as a trial court judge, how challenging it can be to make decisions on the spot. And sometimes you're hearing cases from people who are appearing before you who are struggling with mental health issues, suffering from substance abuse addiction, poverty, homelessness, domestic violence, and ensuring that you treat everyone who comes before you with empathy, compassion, and fairness. And I can assure you that even though I'm no longer sitting in the trial court, in the juvenile court, that I will always be cognizant that the decisions that we make on the appeals court have real-life consequences on people, and that there are human beings and behind the names, and they're not just names on a legal brief. And that, as I said, the decisions that we render have consequences on the people waiting sometimes to find out if they're going to get out of jail or if they're going to regain their parental rights. People who are seeking redress for pain, for suffering that they may have endured, or injuries that they've sustained. And I can assure you that I will not forget what it's like to be sitting in the trial court, although I can't promise I'm going to affirm everyone. But you should enjoy an extra drink and have another app. It might make you feel a little bit better if I have to reverse you. But in all seriousness, I will endeavor to make decisions with fairness and to try and get things right and come to the just decision. Because as I said, I understand what profound effects that our decisions have on people. And it's important to make those decisions with honesty, with clarity, and with reason, so that people can have faith and trust and confidence in the judicial system. Thank you all very much.
I just have one suggestion. When I made the transition from the trial court to the appeals court, I was told, you can reverse me, just don't remand it. I don't want to see them again. So we'll work on that. With that, it's my pleasure to welcome Justice Chauncey Wood.
Thank you. Reception to follow. We're almost there. Good afternoon. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful you're all here. Thank you, Governor Healey, for the kind remarks and for nominating me to serve as an Associate Justice of the Appeals Court. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor Driscoll, members of the Governor's Council, the Judicial Nominating Commission, the Joint Bar Committee, and the Governor's Legal Office for the critical work all of you do reviewing judicial applications like mine. Thank you, Chief Justice Blake, for so ably hosting this event. You've been an invaluable resource in teaching me about the court and the importance of swearing-in ceremonies, and for teaching me what to wear when I come to one of these things. Thank you, Justice Tan, for being willing to share this experience with me. It's really been a great pleasure to start with Justice Tan. It's one of those great gifts in life when you meet someone and you realize they're going to be a friend for life. And that's the experience I've had with Justice Tan. We immediately came into this big, new, complicated job, and we immediately wanted to help each other. And every single day we speak. And it's as though I've known her my entire life, and it's been a real, real pleasure and a blessing to come into this place with her. Thank you. In the planning of this event, Lisa and I also want to express our deep gratitude to the governor's staff, the court staff, the court officers who keep us safe every day, and especially Monique Duarte. You keep getting the shout-outs, but people need to understand these things do not happen by accident. They are a lot of work, and Monique is a master. You've been really reassuring to us throughout the whole process. Thank you. Thank you to all my new colleagues on the appeals court for warmly welcoming me and helping me to learn the ropes, including the mysterious allure of the vertical quotation mark, the fascinating use of supra, and always, always 2 spaces after a period, among so many other fascinating conventions. In particular, I want to thank Justice Eric Nyman, who has been my mentor for the past 3 months and who has provided wise and patient guidance 7 days a week. This is a demanding job, and for the new people here, it is especially demanding. And the mentors, on top of their own work, are answering questions constantly from those of us trying to figure it out. So thank you very much. Thank you also to my secretary, Jennifer Martin, and to my law clerk, Elle Cathcart. I am really lucky to have hit it off with both of you so well right away. You've been lifesavers as I struggle to master this challenging new job, and I feel that you have made that much easier. Thank you. I'm so happy to have Liz, Elizabeth Dembitzer, Liz, and Catherine, Katie, Naples-Mitchell join me on the stage. I think it's a wonderful testament to both of you that your first reaction to being asked to speak was humility, wondering whether you were right for the job. In fact, you're both deeply committed and talented lawyers who bring integrity, without ego, to our precious Massachusetts criminal legal system every single day. I'm so lucky to have you speak for me. Thank you. Like everyone at CPCS, Liz works every day with limited resources to make our amazing Massachusetts criminal legal system function. Liz finds appointed counsel for indigent people convicted of crimes, and perhaps more importantly, works to ensure the quality of that counsel. That is incredibly important and challenging work, especially when one considers the breadth of skill necessary for a zealous, constitutionally effective post-conviction defense in the 21st century. Liz, you are an invaluable public servant, and I have been so lucky to have worked with you. Meeting Katie was like a bolt of lightning. Well, nerdy lightning, but still. Katie and I worked on a number of amicus briefs addressing questions of public importance and moving the SJC towards justice. Thank you, Katie, for teaching me so much and helping me build coalitions to make a difference. More broadly, I am so glad to be joined by several members of my large and loving second family, the Massachusetts Criminal Defense Bar. I cherish the support you've given me over 30 years in my career. I want to single out 3 members of that family today. First, Harvey Silverglate and Andy Good. You gave me my first meaningful job as a 22-year-old paralegal. Working for you was quite simply the most important moment in my professional life. You saw in me the analytical writer I would become. You gave me ridiculous responsibility as your editors. Most importantly, you simply believed in me. I've never forgotten that. Second, John Swamley, who's supposed to be sitting up here, but I can't. There he is. He got here late. He was supposed to sit here. Anyway, John was my first, back up, never follows rules. Anyway, John was my first real mentor as a criminal defense lawyer for poor people. John, you taught me what zealous, ethical defense looks like in practice. Most importantly, you gave me a model of courage in the face of institutional hostility. I also want to recognize 3 remarkable groups who are here today from the Criminal Defense Bar. First, the members of my firm, now known as Jellison and Nathanson. Dave and Eva, you were wonderful partners as we built a mission-driven practice together, which I think is a bit unlike anything else in Massachusetts. Suffolk Lawyers for Justice Board of Directors. You were my first experience working collaboratively with a large group of opinionated, difficult people to improve the administration of the legal system. Finally, the Massachusetts Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers Board of Directors and Amicus Committee. You were my second experience working collaboratively with a large, difficult, opinionated group of people to improve the administration of the legal system. It was an honor to work on both of those committees. Thank you. And more importantly, all of you helped me prepare for this next phase of my career, working with a large group of, well, anyway, you get the idea. Thank you. Finally, I want to thank my family. The luckiest day of my life was when I met Lisa Kavanaugh. She walked into Silverglate & Good as a paralegal because John Swamley and I were renting space, and I got to meet her in the lunchroom. When we told Harvey that we were going to get married, he looked up from his desk after a very long day and said, I know we've created a lot of divorces. I think this was the first marriage we ever created. As many of you know, Lisa, a career public defender, is the director of the CPCS Innocence Program and one of the leading figures in the national innocence movement. But more than that, she is the most empathetic person I know. Our daughters, Carter and Isabel, are the light of our lives. We are acutely aware how lucky we are to have had the great privilege to raise 2 remarkable, strong young women who are already well on their way to charting their own paths to shape their world. Thank you for being a loving, wonderful family. Before I wrap up, I got to pause and note that John Adams, author of the Massachusetts Constitution, was, before that, a practicing criminal defense lawyer. He defended the British soldiers involved in the Boston Massacre in one of the first murder trials in Massachusetts. And he won. He convinced a jury of colonists to acquit the soldiers. Most Massachusetts defense lawyers know this story well. It's a story, in part, about the importance of the rule of law in the face of passions. I also think it's important to note that Adams wrote the Massachusetts Constitution to serve as protection of the people of his beloved Massachusetts from the arbitrary and capricious actions of a far-off king. This was a remarkably courageous act in a tumultuous time. It's the honor of my professional life to be called by my governor to serve and defend the Massachusetts Constitution. I will strive to carry out that duty with honor and courage and provide equal justice to everyone who comes before our court. Thank you.
more time for Justice Tan. One more time for Justice Wood. I'd ask you, if you could, to stay standing. That does, in fact, conclude our program. Justice Tan and Justice Wood would like to invite you to join them at the reception upstairs. So if I could ask you to remain in place during the recessional, and then we will